Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when you reach the breaking point. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So the breaking point, what is that? That is when the relationship has taken a turn. Now, either you or the narcissist will have reached a breaking point, and I will jump into the latter second. The first will be when you reach the breaking point. That is when you've experienced or you've seen such things that you never thought you would experience or seen in the relationship, that something has to come to a head, and you probably would have talked to the narcissist or try to put up a boundary, call them out, or mention to them that you weren't being treated properly. And when you would do that, usually the narcissist would try to throw you off their scent. They would try to throw you off track. They would not admit to any of their wrongdoings. So an example, let's say that the narcissist was disappearing from you. They were not spending as much time with you as they claimed they would or as they used to. Whether you were married or not, that doesn't matter, because this is the same cycle. It's the same dark energy force. But let's say that was happening. And then you would talk to them. You'd be like, hey, what's going on here? You're not even spending much time with me here at the house. What would they do? Well, of course, they would try to gaslight you or rage fit on you or stonewall you or give you the silent treatment or maybe even stay away longer. But when they did that, there was a pivotal part, I am certain, in your relationship on your behalf that you said, wait, I'm not doing this. I can't do this any longer. Something is off here. Something is wrong. I'm not being treated properly, and I don't know what it is that I can do to mend and or fix this relationship. So when you would do that, or you would think that, you would then be observing what the narcissist was doing. But again, remember, you weren't taught narcissism 101 in school, so you didn't have the wisdom that you are acquiring now. You didn't know the terms and the definitions in the glossary on the narcissistic abusive cycle, but you just did know that these behaviors were happening left, right, and center. Example, you didn't know what triangulation was, but I'm sure you were triangulated multiple times in that relationship, maybe even hundreds or thousands of times without even knowing it. And yes, I am not fluffing up numbers. That's probably what happened. But all these things I'm mentioning to, when you finally reach the breaking point, something will have turned, something will have shifted. You will have said, no, I'm putting my foot down and I'm going to call something out here. And then if you were to do that, maybe the next day the moving van would be there and you would be discarded. Or the narcissist would tell you something like, oh, don't be such a baby. What's the big deal? The only person I have problems with is you. You need help. Go see a therapist. What's your problem? Your mother told me I shouldn't have married you, etc. Things like that. And they would spin it back around on you. And that was a clear indication for the narcissist coming from you that you were catching on to them, because now you're trying to put a boundary in place. Before you did that, you were tolerating their poor behavior. You were the walking apology. You were the unpaid helper. You were the sounding board. You were the chauffeur. You were the errand person. You were the person who was paying the bills, etc., raising the kids and doing all the shopping and all the things you were doing. But the point being is now you were putting up a boundary, or you were attempting to. And the narcissist looked at this and they said to themselves, okay, now I've been in this relationship X number of years or months, whatever it was. This person's starting to catch on. They have now noticed that they're not being treated properly. They're not in the trauma bond or caught up in the devaluation stage as much as they used to, or maybe they are, but they're trying to break free because they're recognizing that something is wrong and that I am not treating them properly. What do I need to do? Oh, that's right. I know what to do now. I need to go on my smartphone and start looking for their replacement, or I need to start flirting a little bit more with those coworkers at work, or the person at the gym that's been hitting on me for months. Whatever they're going to be doing, they're going to start looking for your replacement, i.e. the new supply. And what they will do there is they will throw you some breadcrumbs of hope that, yeah, they're going to try and fix themselves, and yeah, they're going to work on the relationship, or maybe you guys could go to couples therapy or whatever you're going to do. And while they're doing that, all they are doing is they're biding time. They're buying time to end it with you. Now, does each and every relationship end this way? Absolutely not. But I can tell you one thing. If you've made it as far as to go to couples therapy and the person you're going to with is the narcissist, that's not going to serve you, because the narcissist will either manipulate the therapist, or the narcissist will get a therapist that perhaps is challenging themselves, or the narcissist will act like they're on their best behavior in the therapy session. The therapy session could go sideways so many different ways. I'm not saying that the therapy session doesn't work, but usually if it's couples therapy with a narcissist, and if you know what I'm talking about, drop comments below, they will probably be hoodwinking the therapist, and you will not get as much value from it as you want. But when I'm sharing this thing, is the narcissist will be looking for your replacement. Now they have to actually do some more work than they were prepared to do, because you're catching on to the scent of the narcissist. So now they really have to up their game. They really have to begin to groom the new supply. Or maybe it's a former old recycled source of supply who didn't find the wisdom. They're still caught up in the trauma bond themselves. But the narcissist will be looking elsewhere because they don't want to ever have you see behind the mask. They don't want you to figure out who they are. They don't want to be accountable. They can't introspect, and they do not want to fix any relationship. And meaning they don't want to fix anything and actually do their part in the relationship. They will tell you and promise you the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything that they've changed and that they've healed and they're a wholly different person. They found the Jesus and all these things. They didn't, they don't, and they haven't, and they won't. The narcissist just wants to get more supply from you and keep you stuck and trapped. So while they're doing this, when you put the boundary up, they're now looking for your replacement, and they're spending time figuring out how to get them in place and when to discard you. And usually, again, they will look for the calendar and try to figure out what's approaching. What's the next big milestone? Is it that you're about to have a birthday, or is there a special holiday coming up, or is someone ill in your family and they're just about to pass, or are you having challenging times passing a test or at work or something? Maybe you're going to be let go of your job, and they know this, and they know it's pending or looming, so maybe they can discard you right around any of those key pivotal periods of your life or moments in time, because they want to inflict as much damage, and then they want to go on to the new supply. That's how it usually works. Well, all these things I'm mentioning to you, it's when you finally had enough. You finally, you can't take it any longer being in the relationship. Now, bear in mind, if the narcissist, when you were in the relationship with them, if they told you who they were and what they were going to do to you, and that they wouldn't keep their word, and that they would try to take every bit of your resources from you while faking their love, faking their empathy, and faking that they care about you, you wouldn't have entered that relationship. Nobody would have entered that relationship. But that's not what the narcissist did. They told you and promised you an awful lot. They basically future faked with you, and they got you to fall in love with them, or to go into business with them, or to loan them money, or to raise kids, or to travel, or to relocate halfway around the world, whatever you did. But you put your faith and trust in the narcissist. And as soon as the narcissist knew they had you, that's when they began to pull back, enter the devaluation stage. But eventually something was going to break, something was going to give. Now, another thing is, you can flip what I just mentioned to you. When you finally had enough, and you don't want to, you can't take it any longer, but you don't know what's going on. It's the same thing with the narcissist. If you flip what I'm going to mention with you, they get jaded with people. They think people are just appliances to be plugged in and used. They look at people as opportunities. They look at people as weak, and they look at people as people that don't even know their value or their worth. And when these people have served the purpose for the narcissist, whether you are catching on or not, or you've had enough or not, many times that's when they will discard you again, or end it, or withdraw themselves, because you're no longer a challenge for them. They see they've already captured you. They already have you where they want you. All they need to do now is just toy with you and mess with you. And I'm using very layman-esque terms here because I'm trying to get you to understand that the narcissist doesn't think like you. They don't have your best interest at heart. They never have, they never will, and they never did. What they wanted was to capture somebody, a beautiful, bright, shining light, which is you. And they wanted to keep you trapped in that low vibrational state where they exist. And they wanted to use you and abuse you and manipulate you whenever they wanted to. And they wanted to give you a little dose of the love bomb / euphoric stage every once in a while to keep you in line. But eventually, even if you weren't figuring out what was going on to you, and you weren't strong enough to call them out or put up a boundary, the narcissist still gets jaded and bored with relationships. That is why not any one relationship will ever fulfill the needs of the narcissist. Whether you were married or not, you may think, no, I was married and they were a narcissist, and I was the only person I was the only person in their life, and it was just me and them, or them and myself. I don't know, I can't say if that's true or not. What I can say is they still are getting supply from their smartphone. They're still getting supply from dating apps. They're still getting supplies from social media. They're still getting supply from the neighbors, coworkers, colleagues, pets. They're getting supply left, right, and center. It wasn't just you. So why I'm mentioning all those things is that when you finally had enough and you understand that you had to put a boundary up, you had to call them out, you had to do something, because you realized that relationship wasn't changing. It was only deteriorating. It was only getting worse. And you were the person who was paying the heavy price tag of being in the relationship. The narcissist was reaping all the benefits of your hard work and your labor and your assets and your time and your money and your love and empathy. And they gave you absolutely nothing in return. That is what the narcissistic relationship is. It's a loop. It's a cycle. It is the love bomb / euphoric stage, then the devaluation stage, then the discard or the ending of the relationship, and then at times a hoover. Remember, don't accept a hoover. If you are hoovered, don't believe in any of the words of the narcissist. The narcissist can tell you anything they want to, and specifically if you're still caught up in the trauma bond, they just are messing with you. They're trying to keep you trapped and stuck. They don't want you healing. They don't want you breaking the chains. They don't want you improving. They don't want you going no contact and blocking them and deleting all flying monkeys and people associated with them and healing. They don't want you doing any of those things. They want to keep you stuck and trapped. And why I mention that so frequently is because when you've finally had enough and you've hit the threshold and you stand up for yourself, usually that's the beginning of the ending of the relationship. But actually, if you really want the truth, the beginning of the ending of the relationship was when you first met the narcissist. You just didn't know it. They did, because each and every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. I don't say that lightly, it's a fact. And being in a toxic narcissistic relationship for 1 minute longer than you need to be when you've identified that that person is a narcissist is 1 minute too long. You see, you're one of the fortunate ones. You're one of the very strong and resilient ones because you found that light bulb. You found that needle in a haystack. You're applying the wisdom, you're getting the tools, you're coupling it with your experiences and insight in the community, and you realize that it wasn't just you, and that all this baggage and toxicity came from the narcissist and was dumped on you. It was meant to have you become devalued. It was meant to have you not believe in yourself. It was meant to have you not enter the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind, which you will arrive at if you jump on the healing path and you focus on yourself and slow your life down and process childhood wounds. You journal, you meditate, you watch videos, you read, you take a class, teach a class, read a book, write a book. You process everything, but you get away from the narcissist. You block them and you don't let their energy ever cross your field again or your path. What you do is you now slow everything down and you understand that that relationship was something you had to go through. There was no other way. And you need to take the lifelong learning lessons from that relationship and apply them to present day, which includes having boundaries and saying no, the strongest word in the English language, knowing your value and your worth, and realizing that you're out of that relationship. It's a fantastic feeling when you've reached that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference, which means you've healed or you are well on the healing path, and you are understanding that the narcissist saw such abundance and beauty and bright shining light within you, and they tried to extinguish it, but they failed. So they had to go on to a new supply, and that supply won't have anything of the beautiful, bright, shining light that you have. You're an absolutely amazing human being. You're fortunate, you're resilient, you're courageous, you're strong, you're determined, you're driven. You are one of the chosen people, meaning you've come through this cycle. You're now in the third version of yourself. You're changed forever. You can't see the world the way you used to see the world. The way you see the world is now through a different set of eyes, and that is a very fortunate place to be. Again, if you were to ask me, would I want to go through the narcissistic relationship to acquire the wisdom and to see the world the way I see them? I wouldn't want to go through the relationship for 1 minute. There's no way I would do that. You wouldn't either, I'm sure. But when you come through the fire and rise through the ashes like the phoenix, and you actually do enter the third version of you, you realize that this is a superpower. And it's a superpower that not many people will get to, meaning reaching that pinnacle of indifference, but that's not you. You're headed towards it, or you've already reached it. That's why you are what I'm suggesting, a chosen one. I'm not saying that word lightly, meaning it's not, how do I say this? Chosen one means you've done it. You've beaten something you didn't even know you were in. So you're very fortunate and you're resilient. That's what I mean by saying those two words. And I don't use those words that often. Everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that you are not alone. Continue on the path moving forward each and every day. Continue believing in yourself, and know that staying away from the narcissistic relationship is the path. Don't tempt fate. Don't accept a hoover. Don't communicate with these people. Just go no contact. Block them. Live your abundant, beautiful, bright light, shining light existence. Do what you want, when you want, with whom you want. Do not stay under the thumb of the narcissist 1 more minute than you need to. I love you all. God bless you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye, everyone. Yeah.